I'm Jared.
My name is Dylan. Thank you very much for having me, Jared. We are in for a very special treat today because we are going to talk about a very special group of animals that need our help, all of our help. These animals are amphibians, more specifically, salamanders. Now in Santa Cruz, we have about 12 different kinds of salamanders. And they need our help because their habitat, where they can live, is getting smaller and smaller. Now today is November 15th, mid-November. Have we had any rains lately? We haven't. It's very dry here. And in years past, it would be wet, but not this year. It's very dry. And that's bad for salamanders because salamanders love wet environments. They love the rain. They love it. And they don't just love it. They actually need the rain. Without rain, salamanders are not going to do good. They breathe much differently than you and I. If we breathe, we use our lungs. Now, a lot of salamanders don't have any lungs. They breathe entirely only through their skin. Now, in order to breathe through their skin, there has to be moisture in the air. It has to be wet. And it's not wet right now. And that's just one example of how the warm months, the warm part of the season, are getting really long. It's getting much larger. And the wet parts of the season are getting much smaller. Not good for salamanders. Now, there's about 700 different kinds of salamanders on Earth. And about 75 of those salamanders are endangered. That means that they're really close to disappearing forever. That's not good. And again, that's because their homes are getting smaller. And so I think it's really important that you and I and everyone listening at home, we ask ourselves a question. What can we do to help our friends, the salamanders? What can we do? I'll help you. I'll give you some answers. We can tell our friends and family about salamanders and that salamanders, they do in fact need our help. The more people that are aware, the better, the easier it is to help them. Whenever you go out for a hike or a little stroll, you can also stay on the trail. If salamanders' homes are already getting smaller, we don't want to do anything else that could hurt their homes, like walk all over them. So we definitely want to stay on the trail. You can also turn off lights in your house when you're not using them. If we leave lights on, it lets off a whole bunch of bad stuff into the air. And we just learned that salamanders breathe through their skin. So it's very easy for salamanders to absorb all the bad stuff that's in the air. Not good. You can also plant a tree. A tree takes in all the bad stuff and it lets out good stuff. Right, so there are many things that we can do to help salamanders and that all of us can do. So I think it's really important to ask ourselves that question. How can we help salamanders? Now, the endangered kinds of salamanders we have right here in Santa Cruz County are the California tiger salamander, absolutely beautiful salamander. It's black and white, it's absolutely stunning. And also the Santa Cruz long-toed salamander. Both of those are very close to disappearing forever. It's really sad. Luckily, what we're looking at here is not one of those salamanders. This is called a slender salamander. Slender salamanders are doing very well, and they live everywhere in our park, in Henry Cowell Redwood State Park. They only get to be about 5 inches long. So this one, I wouldn't say this one is a full-grown adult. Very close. They live to be about 8 years old. That's a really long time. It's a long time for a small animal. And the slender salamander is an example of a kind of salamander that has no lungs, that breathes entirely through their skin, uses its skin to breathe. And this salamander likes to live on the ground. We do have some kinds of salamanders that climb trees and that can be found way high up in the air. This kind of salamander likes to live underneath logs, rocks, underneath all the leaf litter and things like that. Once again, this is the slender salamander. Very beautiful animal.